Okay, now here's what I would expect you to know at this point in this standard, okay? Solving equations first, of course. How many answers? There's 2. What do I have for x's? I have x to the second, and I have x. So that's a factoring problem. So with my little sheet, we need to go this way. So the zero's there. Count the terms. Okay, GCF and the T-chart. GCF, do I have a negative in front? I do not. X on everything, no. 1, 9, and 14 is 1, so out of here. Now, A times, you don't just write F because this does not fail. Positive 1 times 14 is positive 14. You can't write F unless it actually is nothing. Sum of 9. You better be looking. That's 15. That's 9. So I've got minus 9. So minus 7 for sure. And this is a sum, so the signs would have to be the same. So minus negative 2, negative 7, negative 9. Okay, now A equals 1x to the second, so we know that's x times x, and just 2 parentheses needed. Minus 2, x minus 7. No GCF, F1, F2. So x minus 2 equals 0, or x minus 7 equals 0. Plus 2 both sides, I get 2. Plus 7, I get 7. 2 and 7. Okay, next problem. This is going to be kind of a different one. Well, it's not different. Okay, how many answers? There's 3. Okay, what do I have for x's? Well, I've got x to the third, x to the second, and x. So we need to take this route. Okay, 0, 0's here. Okay, count the terms. 1, 2, 3, 4 this time. I hate these 4 ones. Okay, grouping and dots. So I make a big, huge box for the grouping. Then I set up all my little parentheses. Plus signs, of course, then 1 without. And then we look for difference of perfect squares. Okay, so grouping 1x to the third minus 3x to the second, and then negative 9x plus 27. Remember to make that negative 9. Okay, you got x on both to the second power, not a negative though. 1 and 3 is just 1, don't need it. Got a negative in front here, and no, don't put x because 27 doesn't have it. And then 9 and 27 is 9, okay? So x to the second's out and negative 9's out, okay? And that's going to be 1 with x minus just a 3. This is the same thing, okay? So factor out 1x minus 3. Then I have x to the second. Now, if you have negative 9, don't write plus negative, write minus 9, okay? Now, parenthesize that. And this right here is my F1, but this one's adopts, okay? Minus and 3 times 3, x times x. And that's F2, and that's F3. So F1, 1x minus 3 is 0. F2, x plus 3 equals 0. F3, x minus 3 is 0. So plus 3, and that's 3. Minus 3, that's negative 3. Plus 3, that's 3. Okay, next problem. This one would have 2 answers. Okay. And what I have for x is I have x to the second, x to the first. That's factoring. Okay. So we take this route again. equals 0. Well, oh, I don't have a 0. That would go here. So I have 8x to the second power plus 6x minus 9 is 0. Okay, count the terms. 1, 2, 3. So with 3 terms, we make the GCF and then the T. Okay. So GCF, negative in front, no. Do I have x on everything? No. 8, 6, and 9 has a 1 GCF. Okay, so A times C, positive 8 times negative 9, and that gives me a negative 72. So difference of 6. Nope. 2 and 36, nope. 3 and 24, nope. 72 divided by 4 is 18, nope. That's 14. Haven't passed 6 yet. 5 is a decimal. 6 and 12, yep, there it is. So I got plus 6. I'm going to have plus 12 and minus 6 difference. Okay, A is 8x squared, so that's unfortunate because I'm going to have to use 4 to factor it. And then 8x minus 6 plus 12. 8 and 6 you can divide by 2. 8 and 12, 8 comma 12 is 4. Use GCF calculators to do this. Okay, 2x plus 3. Okay, so F1 him, F2 that. And 4x minus 3 equals 0, and 2x plus 3 can equal 0. So I plus 3, so 4x equals 3. You can either write 3/4, but some of you guys who hate fractions, 3 divided by 4 is 0.75. Minus 3, 2 times x is negative 3. Negative 3 divided by 2 is negative 1.5. Okay, next problem. X equals, 2 answers. Now this time we have x squared, but that's the only one I have. So I want to go this way. So I collect my x's, there's only one of them. Box your x. Isolate the x by adding the 5 and dividing by the 5 that's here. So it's 15. And that's 3. Okay, then square root, if it's to the second power, it's to the second power. We got to find the square root of 3. Not a perfect square, so it's going to be a decimal. Okay, 1.73 and a negative. Next up, there are 2 answers. And I have x to the second and x, factoring problem. Unfortunately, I got to go this way. So 0's here. And there's 2 terms this time. So with 2, GCF, and then I'll see just in case if I have a difference of perfect squares. Okay, and then if I do, plus minus are the same thing. GCF, negative in front, nope. You got x on everything, yes. Okay, 7 and 14 would have a 7. 7x is out, and I divide by 7x, so that's going to be 1 with x minus 2. Okay, that's not adopts, so get rid of it. It's a minus, but 2 is not a perfect square. So this right here has x, so that's where the F1's at, and that's F2. So 7x equals 0, or 1 times x minus 2 is 0. So I divide by 7, and that's 0, plus 2, and that is 2. Okay, next problem. There are 2 answers. And I've got x to the second, and I've got x. That's factoring, buddy. Okay. 0's here, that's 3 terms. So So I would do GCF and then my t-chart. Okay, negative, no. X on everything, no. 1, 6, and 3 is 1. Out of here with that. A times C, 1 times 3. That's 3 positive. Sum of 6. That is not 6, so that's a big fail. Okay. So X equals, and we need to use our sum. Opposite of B, opposite of B, so 6 plus or minus the root B squared minus these three things, 4AC, and then over 2A. And we know a 4 goes here. So B, negative 6. A is 1. C is 3. And A is 1. Okay, so I know I've got a plus minus. I know I've got a 6. I have no idea what that is yet. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, so negative 6 to the second. That means I take it times itself, and that's 36. So 36 minus 4 times 1 times 3. That's 12. So 36, or that's 20, that's, yeah, that's 12, okay. So that's 36 minus 12 is 24. I was ahead of myself there. So I find the square root of 24, and that's 4.90. Okay, now let's see if we can use this calculator to get the same thing. So second square root, double it, and then negative 6 to the second power minus a 4, a 1, and a 3. Yep, I got the same thing. So 6 plus 4.90 equals, divided by 2, 5.45. And then 6 minus 4.90 equals, divided by 2, 0.55. Okay, now, with this stuff. Okay, I've got parentheses here. So your backside actually has this, but I need to write it down, okay? So, yeah, there's going to be an awkward pause in this. Okay, so when we have parentheses, we're going to flip this over to the back and look at our game plan from there. Now, if there's a second power outside, you need to use the Q and the chart, but if there's no second power, you're going to do the rainbows like normal. So on this one right here, there's a second power, so there's 2 answers. So we need to use the Q and then this chart over to the side. So Q, and that would have a 5, and that would be to the second, equals 40. And then I'm going to make this chart for when I'm ready to bring back the x minus 4. So I box up Q, and I just isolate it, divide by 5. So Q to the second power equals 8, and then I find the square root of 8. Okay. So the square root of 8 is 2.82, but it go up to 83. And remember, that could be positive or negative. Positive or negative. So on my chart, I could equal it out to 2.83 or negative 2.83. And then I bring in x minus 4. And all I do is plus 4, so that's going to be 6.83. And then I plus 4, plus 4. Probably going to want the calculator for that. So negative 2.83 plus 4 is 1.17. Okay, now if there's no second power, we use the rainbows like normal. Okay, so 5 times 1 is 5x, and 5 times negative 4 is negative 20, equals 40. Okay, and then we just add 20, So 5 times x equals 60, and then I divide by 5, and that's 12. There's only one answer to the problem, so that's 12. All right, now story problem time. Ball. It should just say a missile. Ball missile. What the heck's that? Missiles launched in the air with a velocity of 700 feet per second from a height of 25 feet. Calculate how long it will take the missile to hit its target. That's 15 feet above the ground. This is kind of disjointed and awkward looking. Okay, so we're finding the seconds. That's the answer. So seconds is x and feet is y. So per feet per second. Okay, now I know that's 700. And what goes up must come down. But it doesn't come down at 0, it comes at 15. It hits its target 15 feet. Okay, so I need a big box. Gravity, negative 16x to the second power, plus the feet per second, 700x. Now, it was launched from 25 feet, so plus 25 equals y, but y is not 0, it's 15. So that's something we're going to have to fix as I go solve this. So there are two answers. X squared and x, we're going to have to get our factors. So the 0, we need a 0 right here. So I subtract 15. So I have negative 16x to the second plus 700x, and that's going to be plus 10. Okay. So we're ready to do the three terms. Pen is dying. Shoot. Oh, it's not going to make it. Gosh darn it. Let me find something to write with. It's going to have to be this black pen here. Okay, GCF, I do have the negative in front. I don't have X on everything. And now if you go 16,710 into that GCF calculator, you're going to get 2. So heck, I know it's not very big, but we can divide it out at least. So that's positive 8x to the second. That's going to be negative 350x. If you divide by negative, it turns that negative. And then minus 5. Okay, A, B, C. So A times C. 8 times negative 5. It's negative 40. Difference of 350. No way that's possible. Fail. So x equals opposite of b, so 350 plus or minus the square root b squared minus these three things. Okay. So b is negative 350. That's going to be fun. 4. A is 8, and C is negative 5. And then 2 times 8. Okay, so I've got 3 plus minus with 350 in the front. And that's 16. All right, then we're going to find what that is. Okay. Those of you with the good calculators know how to punch that in. Negative 350 times itself. $122,500 minus, and then I need to find what 4 times 8 times negative 5 is. Negative 160 plus plus. Okay, 122,660. Okay, so I'm going to square root that puppy. I get 350. Okay, so again, you could have got that if you just know how to punch in second square root, double the parentheses, negative 350, close it, second power, minus 4, 8, negative 5. Yep, same thing. I don't really need this stuff after the decimal on these story problems, to be honest with you. 350 plus 350 equals, and then divide by 16. 43.75. That's okay, kind of high, but that's 350 minus 350, 0, divided by 16, 0. Okay, and 43.75. Okay, that wasn't too fun. Last one, I hate these ones, okay? Okay, it's talking about dimensions and shapes, so we're going to need to make that. A picture has dimensions of 16 by 20 inches. We're going to build a frame around the outside. So I've got 16, 20, and this frame outside. Okay, now let's measure. So I've got 16, x, and x. Now that is 2x plus 16. Don't forget that. That's 20, that's x, and that's x, so that's 2x plus 20. Okay, so we make a length and a width. So 2x plus 20, 2x plus 16, and that's a step 1 and a step 2. Okay, so I take 2x times 2x off to the side here, and then back to the 2x and multiply that by 16. That's done. And then 20 times 2x and 20 times 16. 1, 1, 1, 1. So that's 4x to the second, 32x to the 1, 40x to the 1, and 320. Okay, check it. And then you got some powers that are the same, so we should probably draw out our spaces so I can organize them. So x second is 4. 32 plus 40 is 72. And then 320. Now down here we make our equation because they told me the area was equal to 396. Okay. So I've got 4x second plus 72x plus 320. Okay, there's two answers, and I've got x squared and x, so we are going to have to make boxes, but I need a 0 here to do that. So I've got 4x to the second plus 72x, and that's negative 76 equals 0. Three terms, GCF and T. GCF, don't have the negative in front. Don't have X on everything. But 472.76, if you take that into the GCF calculator, it's going to say you can divide by 4. So I divide by 4, and that's 1x to the second plus 18x minus 19. So the ABC goes here, not here. So A times C, 1 times negative 19. Negative 19, so difference needs to equal 18. 1 and 19. 19 minus 1 is 18, so let's go with those two. This did not fail. You need to try it, okay, before you just write fail. You don't want to use that big, long formula if you don't have to, okay, especially when you got the calculator to help you. plus, difference would be minus. Now A, pay attention here. Here's x squared. It has a 1 in front of it. That's good. That's x times x. So that's F1, that's F2. So x minus 1 equals 0, x plus 19 equals 0. Plus 1, x is 1. Minus 19, I get negative 19. Okay, ditch the negative, and 1's your answer. Now you're like, I thought we had to plug that in. No, you don't, because it says how many inches wide should our frame be. I just found it. It's 1. Okay.